Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. I think things should be working. So if you are here already, would you do me the favor of letting me know that for our live stream Wednesday that we have audio, we have visual, we are good to go. Checking the chat really quick while somebody throws me a bone and gives me the confirmation that we're good. I'm saying hey to Jazzy, who was the first one in here, came in to say hey, and then there's Dee and Adrian and Niche Safari Chris and some other folks who are lurking, which is totally fine. Welcome. Hello. I missed you since last week, and those of you who don't usually make it. Oh yeah, did you spy the Funnel Hacker t-shirt? It's like if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you're like, what? But yeah, I totally went down that rabbit hole. That was back near the beginning, I will say, of this whole journey. Hey, Jeff, what is going on? Thanks for dropping in. Wow, this thing today is spooky. Here we go. All right, that's where it's going to be. And if I'm on to the left or the right, that's just how it is. Hey, everybody. Today is Wednesday, kicking off my kid-free work half a week end, and I am getting here just to get ready, to get fired up, to go and just knock it out for the next 4 or 5 days because I have a lot to do. It's June 2nd, holy cow, which means that I have a new month's worth of content to create. I get to, and it's not like it's a burden. I get to make my month 5 income report video for the MIGA site, which I'm really excited about making, which feels good, right? Because YouTube can sometimes feel like a slog and you're like, oh, I have to make another video. And I've basically been waiting to the end of the month and waiting to get a day open that I could make this video because I'm super jazzed about it. I think it's, one of those examples of when you work really hard on something and then you see progress and you just can't wait to share it with everybody. And I just literally can't wait to share. I'm so excited. To the list of things while YouTube is sending out the notifications. I just got the notification on my phone for this live, so it took 3 or 4 minutes. So maybe we'll see other people strolling in. But if you could smash the thumbs up like button thing, that would, I think it helps. I'm not honestly sure though, but it does help my ego, which is small. It's weak, skinny thing. It needs to be puffed up a bit. Anyway, while we wait, I did want to point out that in my community tab, I shared something about half an hour ago, and I just wanted to shout Anthony. He's Tortoise Cashflow. He posted, we had talked last week about Pinterest, a little bit about Pinterest maybe not being as awesome as it has been previously, and how posting to Pinterest, especially if you're trying to link out, it was kind of a waste of time because Pinterest wasn't promoting pins that were taking people off the platform. And one of the things that Anthony was noticing in his site that he started in the last year was that when he created a blog post and made a pin, that when he would search the search term Pinterest and his pin were actually outranking his site for the post. It's with a brand new site, I mean, Pinterest is not hard to outrank, but in general, when the site is brand new, it could be hard. And he was like, oh my God, I'm doing all this work and Pinterest is getting all of my traffic. And so what he had decided to do was just delete his Pinterest account, because at some point it seems like his traffic was Pinterest was getting the click for his stuff. Anyway, I shared the video on my community tab on my main channel. It's also in the description of this video because I thought it was really interesting. And I actually had never thought to go and check. I mean, I do Google some of my search terms, but never really thought much about where Pinterest landed in there for my Pinterest pins. So if your Pinterest pins are outranking your blog, I think that's a problem, and I understand why Anthony deleted that. So anyway, the video is there. I think it's valuable, and I'm going to be looking into this. I see Marika. Hello, how's it going? And there is Sue. Basically, Sue is like everybody's favorite person. She shows up in the stream and in the chat, and everybody's like, Sue. I wish people liked me that much. Jeff says more views on Pinterest than my actual site. Yeah, it makes you wonder about whether or not Pinterest is a good idea. I hate to say this because, people talk about Pinterest a lot, but you say, okay, well, maybe the best thing would just be to suck it up and continue to post content and work on the domain authority of the site. And over time, of course, it will eventually outrank Pinterest. But in the short term, it's kind of a bummer. Like, it's not very motivating. Chris says, maybe you could try creating FAQ schema on your article to make sure you outrank your Pinterest pins. Well, we'll tell Anthony that. Adrian says, I think it has to do with the domain authority. Yes, I totally agree. It's just like, okay, in the short term, when you really want to get people into your site, and maybe you need that motivation, you say, okay, what do I need to do to my site to get past this? And so I totally see how disheartening it can be when you're trying to outrank Pinterest and Pinterest is outranking you for your content. There is Keith. What is going on? Thanks for dropping in. Anybody missing Alex this week? Because Alex took the week off from doing lives, which he's totally allowed to do. But a lot of folks who are regulars to his streams, are you guys hurting without him? Because I miss them. Like, I usually catch them on the replay because he goes live at like 4 or 5 in the morning for me. So I never catch them. Keith says, I'm sorry I'm late. How dare you? I was recording a video, take after take after take. It takes me forever to make a video, my friends, so do not feel embarrassed. Jazzy says, yes, Alex hurt me. Hurt me hard. Well, poor thing. He'll be back. Don't worry. He will be back. Sue says, yes, having Alex withdrawals. Oh, next thing on my list, I wanted to highlight another link in the description. I actually went on Jared Krause's Buying Online Businesses podcast in the last couple of weeks, and I'm not going to lie, I did not have the balls to go and watch it or listen to it. And so far, like, I've heard from some folks that the interview was good. Margaret said that she saw it and that it was okay, but I'm going to ask for folks to go and check it out. And leave like something nice in the comments, because eventually I'm going to go and watch it or listen to it. And it will help me a lot if I know that you guys have already been there and just how it turns out. Because again, my ego is a really shriveled thing. Chris says, you did good. I know. I have a hard time seeing myself, because then I'm like, oh, did I really see that? Oh, yeah. Can we go back and cut that out? Because I feel like I get like this performance thing, like when I'm on somebody else's show, then I feel this need to like be the like energetic and like basically perform. And so then I feel like I do things or say things that I might not normally do or say. I'm embarrassed by it sometimes. So the link is in the description down below. I think it said Jared Krause's the podcast with Jared Krause or something. I attempted to put the link down there, so it's there. It's on his podcast, but he also posts the video on his YouTube, so I put the YouTube link. Keith said that it was open and honest. Well, that's what I was going for. I try to avoid going full on guru, because I don't feel like I warrant full on level guru status. Maybe the keyword is yet, right? Growth mindset. But I want to be open and honest about the fact that I have not achieved like that badge, like guru status yet. Keith said he edited it. Okay, excellent. Can I please make a video on niche selection, the vendor? Well, I did. I will say in my my case study series for 2021, I did do a niche selection video or content in that video series. I am planning on doing probably another one. I'm looking over here because I'm looking at the date, because I am planning on starting a new site by January 1. That's the deadline I've set for myself. So I am doing some niche selection, like thinking, researching, I'm doing all that stuff right now. So it would be timely to do one. But I will say, though, for folks that are like, I need to know how to select a niche. And I said this last week and I will say it again. I feel like, I don't know if anybody does it better than Morten Stargard, our passive income geek colleague and friend. And so what I tell people to do is go get Morten's course. And that link is in the description, because I feel like some of his niches perform like $100+ That's the RPM per 1,000 visitors. And it's just mind boggling. And I literally have been just like consuming everything that he produces to figure out, like, unlock the puzzle for a high RPM earning site. So high RPM plus lots of traffic. That is the holy grail. Wait, without competition, right? No competition, high RPM, high traffic. Like, he's got it figured out. So if you really need that stuff right now, I think his course is a great place for that. The link is in the description. Jazzy says more good content to watch. I cannot vouch for good, as I said for myself. I have not watched it. Sabina. Dang it! I do this all the time, and now I'm gonna have to go look because Sabina, our mom Vanna friend is here. I was looking at your entries in the MIGA spreadsheet, which, by the way, I did add the June tab. So for folks who want the accountability group thing, I added the June tab, but I did it late. Sabina said that she did not quite get all the articles she wanted, but I'm still like legit proud of you for the month because you had the kids and vacation. And I just be kind to yourself. Please be kind to yourself. Steve says, not too late getting this time. Well, thank you for getting here, Steve. And we were just talking earlier about how everybody who is used to seeing Alex streaming, how everybody's like in withdrawals. And I wondered if that was you also. Keith says, so is everybody Ezoic now? Yeah, he's talking about, I assume you're talking about the Access Now whole launch thing. That was just yesterday. Honestly, it feels like an eternity, but Ezoic has basically opened the doors, and they said that initially it was going to be another launch where they were going to have a cap and only so many people. And basically now they pretty much said it's open. Like, if you can find a link from somebody here on YouTube, they're all affiliate links, by the way. But if you can find one of those links, you can actually get small sites in, and there's no plan to close it off. So people who want to be, I suppose, they can be. There, Anthony, we just, well, not just, but like at the beginning of the show, we talked about your Pinterest video. And so I just wanted to give you the shout out that we shouted you out and talked about that a little bit. And I told basically that for people to check, like, are they getting outranked by Pinterest? Renat says his success is not because of the niche selection, but because of the topic selection. See, we can, I hopefully agree to disagree, because I don't think it's just, I think it is topics within the niche. And I also think he's really good at doing that. So I think that that niche selection is part of it, and topics within the niche is also part of it. So it would be not correct for me to say that it's just niche selection, because that's true. It's really not just niche selection. It's also drilling down into the topics within the niche. And I think he's a master at that. So let's see. Sue says, I went and watched the part of the course after you talked about it, and he's got some really great guidelines. Yeah, I think it's really good, especially for people who are struggling with that part. I think folks who are more experienced may not get as much out of it, but I don't put myself in that at that upper echelon of like so much experience. I still got something out of it, so that's me. Let's see. Sabina says, I was just thinking about how brilliantly you set up the Excel spreadsheet. Oh, I love praise. I need help with how to track progress, like over the shoulder. Yeah, you just got to figure out what helps you. What helps you. You Morton's love was great. Morton's live was great. Yeah, I caught it just at the end, and he had over 100 people on the live stream, and it was so many people he almost didn't he couldn't manage it, and it was fun to watch. I was really happy for him. Sue says, I've just come in from a few hours of sunbathing and writing. It's hard to feel bad about that. I will tell you, I think most of us are probably jealous because of that. Sabina says she's still working through the steps to get Ezoic set up. Yeah, for folks who are just getting through it for the first time, it can be overwhelming. It can be difficult. It can seem technical. And if you feel that way, don't worry, because most of us have been through that, and most of us have felt that. And they have over there have been working hard to try to make it easier, but it's not as simple as just installing a code and pressing on. And so don't feel bad if it feels hard, because it can be. D says it was carnage. Is Alex okay then? He wasn't around yesterday as normal. I don't know what's going on with Alex, but I do know that he put out a post that said he was just going to be gone for the week. I don't know what's up. It could be that this is the week. I mean, when are they moving to Spain? I don't know when that's happening. I mean, maybe they went on vacation because I don't know. I don't know. Sue says, Emilia, you know how you said you put a Zoic on your MIGA site early? How early? Did you have 1,000 traffic? I'm sitting at about 900 for now, but not if I should wait a bit. You know, it's going to be up to you, Sue, honestly. I put mine on, let's see, I'm going to go look over, and this might take me a minute to find it. I know that I put it on the site right around Valentine's Day, and that stuck out with me. And so that's like months 1.5. And so in month 2 of my MIGA site, I only got 300 sessions and 600 page views. So by the time I put Ezoic on the site, it had received less than 400 users total. Total, not per month, but total. And a lot of people would say, well, that's too early. And I say, well, I mean, it is really early because the ad tester and like all of the technology and all of that stuff, it takes a long time to do the testing, right? So you want to know what your, EPMV is going to be, and you're going to want to know, which articles do this, that, or whatever. Well, it takes a while before you, one, make any money, two, get any reliable data. So that's why they want you to have at least 1,000 users a month, but it's not required. For me, I wanted that data because I wanted to see which of the posts that I had posted, and as they started to get traffic, how valuable were they? Because I didn't necessarily know from post to post to post which one was going to be worth like diving down deeper into. Like I would make more posts like that if I knew that the EPMV or the RPM for them was going to be over $20 versus the ones that you think might be valuable but then roll in at like $5. You're like, there's no reason to go down that road anymore. So if you are curious and you want to, then great. And if you don't want to, then great. One of the reasons that I put Ezoic on the site really early is because I wanted to see whether or not it would prevent the site from growing, right? A lot of people say, oh, well, I do this with this and it killed my site, or I don't know. You say, oh, well, Ezoic destroy your site? I don't think so. This site got almost 5,000 page views in month 5. I'm really excited to make this video, and it's growing month on month. And but yeah, I mean, I just think it's really up to you as far as preference goes. The site is growing. Maybe it would have grown more. Maybe that's what we can argue about. Like maybe the site would be farther along than it is. But for a site that's 5 months old and getting close to 5,000 page views in a month, in month 5, like I feel good about it. So I just think you should do what feels good to you. And if you feel like you should wait, then wait. And if you feel like you want to put it on, put it on. I personally don't think it's going to harm anything either way. But if you are concerned or worried about that potential harm, then don't do it. It's okay. It's really okay. Keith says, yep, Alex is okay. He's just shopping for sunscreen for Spain. Anthony says, thanks. I'll have to check it out. I'm curious to see if others are experiencing the same thing. Yeah, absolutely. It would be great to know if anybody else is seeing Pinterest stealing their traffic. Jazzy says, I'm at 550, LOL. Hey, progress is progress. I think it's really easy to compare, like do a lot of comparisons to figure out whether or not you should keep going, right? Like, and I do this, right? Like every month I go and I check to see how I did. And then I go and find other people's case studies and be like, am I winning? Am I doing it? Or, what are they doing differently? Or how can I do better? But it also wastes a lot of time. And sometimes it makes me feel bad. So anyway, Sue says, yep, I think he's preparing for his move. Dee says, Morton's wife did a good job of keeping him on track. She's a good lady. Renat says, Morton finds his topic by manual research while too many people do it with keyword tools. The manual approach is better, but costs so much more in effort. I totally agree. And that's one of the things that I've really been enjoying in consuming his videos is watching the manual method as he just goes through. And then also when he's talking through which topics or which articles to write versus not. And there's just some little gems in there that just, I think I always kind of understood them, but it's like he just slapped me upside the head, like, bam. And I was like, oh, hmm. So it's been kind of fun, sort of, I don't want to say starting over, but just really thinking about the foundational aspects of niche selection and starting a site. And I mean, not to say that I didn't just do this like 6 months ago, because I did, but there's so much to be learned from starting a site from scratch. And I feel like I get better at it every time. So I guess there's hope. If you didn't do a good job of it the first time around, then the next time around, hopefully it will be better. Because for me, it should definitely be better. Dad Gamer, hey, what's going on? He says he's laying a new patio, popped in to say, hey, thanks for dropping in. I appreciate you, seeing you. Jeff says, so how exactly does writer access work? You know, Jeff, I saw your note in the MIGA spreadsheet wanting to know about writer access, and I was actually going to ask you what it is that you wanted to know. Basically, writer access is a platform for getting content, and this is how I use it, and not everybody uses this, but you have to pay a monthly fee to have access to the platform. All right. And then when you have access to the platform, you can post basically your projects, your articles, and then you can either post them to specific people or to the crowd. And you can post them at whatever, 2 cents a word, 3, 4, whatever. And then if you post it to the crowd, then people will, I'm going to put my air quotes, reserve them. So they have the right to work on that article up until the deadline. And then you set the deadline. So the deadline could be 2 days, 4 days, 10 days, a week, whatever. And then basically, like, let's say I choose 1,000-word article and I select it at 2 cents a word. And then I have my money and deposit. So you put money in ahead of time. And then it reserves that money. So it takes that dollar amount that I'm expected to pay and then holds it. And so usually what you do is you give them a range, like between 1,000 and 1,500, because sometimes just saying 1,000 words causes people to do whatever it takes to make it meet 1,000 words. And sometimes that's not a good thing. So let's say I say the max is 1,500 and the minimum is 1,000. So then the writer access holds the deposit. So pulls it like aside from my deposit account and holds for the max, for the upper end, for the 1,500 words. And then when the article comes in, I have the option to pay them for the per word. So let's say they delivered 1,200 words. That's just how the article turned out. I have the option to pay them for the 1,200 words, which is less than the 1,500, or give them the 1,500 price if I want to. You can even give them a bonus. But then once you finalize the order, and let's say it's at 1,200 words, then that extra money for those 300 words that didn't get used gets released back to your deposit account so you can spend it on something else. So I will order articles for certain amounts. And then I think that I have spent $500 on articles, but then as they come in and I review them and approve them, then inevitably, because I've given them the range, some of that money goes back into my deposit account and then I end up using it. But some of the things I like about it is that it's really easy for me. I'm not too bothered, honestly, by the $40 a month access fee, because for me, I like not having to vet writers. I like not having to post to pro blogger jobs. And I don't have enough time. And so as far as the quality of the content goes, I think it has a lot to do with what level you order it at. When you order it at 2-star level, I mean, sometimes you're going to get 2-star content. Sometimes it comes back like as amazing, and sometimes it comes back as needs some work. And so at 2-star level, I almost always end up working on it at least a little bit, sometimes quite a lot of it. And if I get a writer who I didn't like, I will usually pay them, and then I will just block them so that they don't see any of my jobs as I come up. And then I've started to slowly find people that I like, and those people tend to snag my articles, and I'm excited to see them. And so you can like message people directly, give them more feedback if you know that they're going to continue to pick up your articles, and then you can choose to work with them one-on-one directly. And yeah, I mean, it's as far as ordering the content, usually I put in the title of the article so they know what it's going to be about. And then the instructions are kind of as broad as you want. Usually put in the main keyword. And then I also will trickle in 5 or 6 or 10 other things that I would like them to use somewhere in the article. But I honestly don't ask them to do a whole lot of, I'm going to put up my air quotes, SEOing, or trying to do anything on page, because what happens is that there's a lot of attempts to like stuff keywords here or there. And so I do usually end up having to undo a lot of that because I just want stuff that's natural and normal. But that's how it works for me. I think other people use it differently. And some people have heard that John Dykstra had used it, say, oh, that thing is really expensive, because John will often order the content that costs 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cents a word. And I think that if you can get good content at 2 cents a word, then great. But if it's either technical or the people who know how to do that won't write for that, then you'll just have to move up until you can find a level that works for you. And right now for me, I'm at 2 cents a word because that's where I'm at. But yeah, I don't know what you have to tell me. What other questions you have? There's a link. People want to try it. It's an affiliate link. It's in the description. But yeah, that was my experience with it. Dee says, I think Alex is off this week as the kids are on holiday. Jazzy said August. He said, I think so. He's planning on moving to Spain in August. Sabina says, I'll say changing my word count goal from 500 words a day to 1,000 words has been really motivating. All right. I also listed the topics in writing this month, so I already know what I am writing. I think that doing that ahead of time means that when you sit down, it reduces the likelihood of waffling. Like, I don't know if that's the correct usage of the term to waffle, but I feel like if you're to sit down and kind of be unfocused because you're like, oh, I need to do research. What am I going to write? Or what do I feel like writing about? Like, don't give yourself the power to decide what you feel like writing about. Just go to one of the things that's on your list and just pick one as your option and just get started. Because if you try to figure out what you feel like writing about, if you only have an hour to write content because you have kids or family or a job or you're tired, then it will not get done. That's all. Adrian says Alex is moving in August. All right. I think we've confirmed it. Alex is moving in August. Sabina says, feeling smarter every day. I tell you, 30 days in this business, if you are putting in the time and effort, daily, weekly, that you will grow so much in a month. You will honestly not believe what you were doing a month ago. 24K Will. Hey, what's going on, Will? Thanks for dropping in. Dee says, good work. I may try and do that. Whoa, there is Corn Broadband dropping in. What's going on, Carl? Hope you are all well, with a question mark. I can only speak for myself in that I am well. And speaking of, I haven't asked everybody how they were doing or anything about as far as accountability and how everybody's sites are going. I see the folks in the MIGA spreadsheet, which is awesome, but there are lots of folks in here who I don't know what their progress is, and I would love to hear it because that stuff I find to be motivating. Sue says, I think I'm going to go for it as I'd like to iron out issues ASAP and also getting some money trickling in. I got to tell you, for me, there's nothing more exciting than watching that dollar amount per day go up. Like checking it yesterday, like day to day, like just seeing like this, like it doesn't have to be like but like the slow and steady incline. That is really motivating, and it really helps me get back to the computer. Not every day, but every week and just consistently, because I can see that my work is making positive progress. And I think you can get that feeling too when you're looking at analytics just at traffic, but it's not as motivating. It doesn't impact me as much, like just traffic for traffic's sake versus the more money coming in. Like the money is it. Like, I don't know if there's something in me that's just super motivated by that, but I tell you what, it's a pleasure to log into, your ad network or your affiliate stuff and then just see like there's more money there this month than there was last month. And it doesn't have to be a lot, it just has to be more. And it's great. People saying hi to Will, lots of people saying hi to Will. Saying hi to Chris. 11 thumbs up only. I know. What the heck? What the hey? Oh my goodness. Let's see. Ezoic killed was it Ezoic that killed your site? Yeah, just because of Elementor and Elementor everybody seems to be hating on Elementor lately because of Web Core Vitals. I've never actually used it, so I cannot honestly say one way or another. See, everybody who is here who needs Alex. Yeah, I know everybody is missing Alex. So I get the benefit of your friendly, I don't want to say faces, but your friendly participation because Alex isn't here so you haven't had like that itch scratched. There's Income Grinders. What's going on? You have been doing a great job putting out videos and just being really transparent about what you're working on, which is awesome. Carl says he's cooking in the background. Well, last week it was this sort of circle bread that you folks across the pond call pudding. What are you making today, Carl? Like everybody wants to know. And is it very British? Like I cannot wait to go and search for it because I'm sure it won't be anything I know how to make or have ever heard before. Jeff says, love passive income feels transparent in his video today. I saw his video today where he said that he had worked for 24 months and had, I don't want to say failed, but had not had the success that he was hoping for. And the why, I thought that a lot of his points were most of that I could also relate to. And I do agree that I think that's a great video. Sabina says the other highlight was this week was indexing issues. Only 25 of my 45 articles were indexed. I resubmitted my sitemap and I've stopped checking page views. Yeah, I think that you're not the only one who's struggling with indexing issues because this person is too. And what I have been doing lately is just checking the crawled, but not, I would say crawled but not indexed tab, and then just manually indexing whatever I can. And sometimes it works. And sometimes I go back and check a week later and that article is still there. And I don't know if that is going to solve itself eventually. But fingers crossed that it will. Below average blogger. Holy cow, Mike. I feel like we haven't talked in so long. How are you? What is going on? Can't wait to see your next update video. He said, Keyword Chef has done a good job of merging a paid tool with Google suggested questions and low competition manual style research. It's not perfect, but helpful and cheap relative to other tools. You know, I have been hearing a lot of people praising Keyword Chef lately. I have not tried it myself, but I have yet to hear anybody come to me with the anything about it not being good. So I'm just really excited for Ben, because I think it's awesome. Like you do a lot of work and then you launch it out there and you hope that it's actually helpful. And it sounds like he has been successful with that. Sabina says, I watched Passive Income Phil twice today. You know, sometimes that's what it takes. I watched one of Sean Mars's videos twice today. It was his month 5 update on the site that he started this year. And I had watched it the first time kind of with one ear on the video and one ear on making breakfast for the kids. And so then I had to go back and watch it again. And he had, I think, already 225 articles in month 5. And I was like, oh man, there's like no keeping up with Sean like at all. Income Grinders asking Sabina about adding them manually. I mean, that's indexing them, like doing the force indexing one-on-one is the only thing that I would know how to do. Let's see. Sabina says, don't tempt me. I've got to stop doing keyword research. Absolutely. If what you're doing is not getting content posted because you're spending all your time doing keyword research, then it's not helping. Like it's not moving the needle. Adrian says he's been using Ben's tool for quite some time and says it's great. Sue says that she's been concentrating on writing much shorter articles between 600 and 900 words that are really succinct with no fluff. Yeah, I don't necessarily think anymore that just writing a long article is the way. I just don't think it is. I think answering the question, getting the information out there is probably the best that we could do. Sue says getting articles picked up by Google on the day after writing now, that is awesome. That has to feel really good to post the article and then on the next day checking your analytics and seeing that article is getting traffic. Yes, that is a good feeling. Carl says, gotta go finish editing my income report and cooking chicken carbonara. All right. I have heard of that food before. I didn't think of it as something that would be British. Jeff says, thanks for the writer access rundown. You answered it. I always like to hear about user experience. I will only talk about products or put affiliate links in the description for products that I have used myself or am using myself. Let's see. Keith says, brace yourself. On search engine land, Danny Sullivan of Google has announced a new broad core update has begun rolling out. This one named the June 2021 core update. Oh dear. I feel like the month of May was a one big update. Oh, speaking of, I think last week or the week before, I was talking about one of my sites that just got hammered in the middle of May, kind of around the time that Jasper, that his beauty site got hammered again. And I was like, oh, the site is almost gone down to zero. And I didn't necessarily know why. And so people were shouting out lots of helpful suggestions, which I really appreciated. And so I finally, last weekend, I was like, all right, I've waited like 2 weeks and just to see, if anything was going to bounce back, and it didn't. And so I went to the site, and this is just a reminder of why it is that it can be so troublesome to have a large portfolio. I discovered that the SSL was not functioning. Yes, that's right. So instead of going to the site, it was going to the little screen that said, warning, this site might not be safe. You should go back. So I got on the horn with WPX, who is the host for this site, and said, because this always seems to happen with WPX like once a year with one of my sites, and they can't explain to me why that is. It just happens. And so the site is getting traffic again. Unfortunately, I do think that the update did hit it, just not as much as I had thought, which was almost down to zero. So it was seeing 400 visitors a day. And then when the SSL was broken, it was down to about 20. And now it's up to the 160 to 200 visitors a day. So I honestly can't say for sure objectively what caused what, except for the SSL part. And the SSL certificate was absolutely the problem for it to going almost down to zero. But as far as the update, Google, why? Let's see. Income Grinder says, thanks. I'm hopefully not spamming videos. I think as long as you're making content that is, that's quality. I mean, people might not be able to get to all of your videos, but I think that you'll eventually have a really nice library that will be really helpful to people. Sabina says she's not tried submitting manually. I'll give it a try. I think that is kind of one of the only options aside from trying to create links or trying to do other things off page. I will try to change something on the page or maybe add more internal links before going and trying to do external linking and the rest. But if, I don't know, in 6 months' time, these pages still aren't indexing, then I may have to try something else. Chris says he's going paddleboarding, and I feel like that's awesome for Chris, and I'm not going to be jealous at all because I'm kind of tan right now because I spent the last weekend camping and fishing. So Sabina says, I also don't have a real interlinking strategy yet. Well, I will say that your site is small enough right now that this is an ideal time to start one and to start linking stuff to other stuff. Because if you let the site get too much bigger, then it will become much more challenging to do that. Marika says, she says, do it manually. I had 13 blog posts not indexed, and half of them have now been indexed. The rest Google will decide. I will wait, but submit again and wait. Yeah, I try to do it once every couple of days. And if they don't make it in, then just try it again. Adrian says, try to add some internal links to the articles you want to index from ones that are already indexed or ranking. I think that's good advice. Wanderer and Wanderer says, shoot, I am late. Hello, all. You know what? Still happy to have you here. And there's always the replay. Wanderer says that he or she was checking out Income Grinders, which is awesome. Sabina from Adrian, he said, you can do that manually or use Link Whisper. The free version, I really do think that for folks who are struggling to see, whether a post has links or not, or they're not necessarily ready to use the advanced functionality of Link Whisper Premium. I really think that the free version of Link Whisper is valuable, and I use it myself. So let's see. Camping and fishing sounds nice. It was great. I mean, not perfect when you have kids, because there's always somebody who's hungry, or somebody who fell down, or somebody is dirty, and the rest. Kayer says, Manali here. I wanted to ask you, since you are a lawyer, I am not currently a practicing lawyer right now, and I am not authorized to give anybody legal advice, especially on a live stream. It says, can someone use your domain name if it is still in use in the same country or other? Oh, man. Can somebody use your domain name if it is still in use? I'm not necessarily sure how exactly you're talking about that playing out. Like, for example, if your domain is yourdomain.com versus yourdomain.uk or yourdomain.in or something like that. That sounds like a potential trademark issue, and I cannot provide any sort of advice as far as trademark goes. One, because it's not my specialty, and two, because I'm not allowed to. So I wish I could be more helpful, but I can't. I'm going to leave that to the big dogs who know the answers to those. I did want to highlight and mention for the folks that are using Ezoic Leap that Ezoic is starting a secondary blog for those recommendations, like the really technical recommendations in your technology tab in Leap, where it says like, you need to delete font awesome, or you need to delete tweet emoji. And you're like, I don't know how to do that. And it's part of my theme. I literally have no idea how to do that. And so what they are actually doing, which I find helpful enough to suggest people check it out, is they're slowly rolling out articles that address those things. Like, here's the step-by-step thing you need to do to remove Google fonts. And so I have started implementing some of these things, and I am honestly not super technical. So I feel intimidated by doing things like, I'm putting up my air quotes, like it's giving me the recommendation to remove Twitter emoji, and I don't know how to do that. There's no like box to check in my theme. There are like, they don't have all of these things addressed. Like every week they're slowly rolling out articles that address these things. And part of it is because I don't think they knew necessarily what was going to come up and what technology was going to do what. And I don't know if they thought that far ahead as far as, okay, these are these technological recommendations and what do people do with them? Because for most of mine, if it doesn't involve like changing the theme or turning off the plugin, like I don't know the answer to it. So I've been slowly working through them and trying to implement them. And I haven't broken anything. I always back up the site before I do anything, like literally go. And people say, oh, your host backs it up. You could just go back and turn it back to yesterday. But if I do something and I break it, I want it like right now. I don't want to go to SiteGround or WPX and say, hey, I know it's the weekend. Could you fix this? And they're like, we'll get to it on Monday. And in the meantime, my site is down. So that's why I always back up everything before I get started. And then that way, if I break something, I can just fix it. Wander says, I started from scratch April 28th. So you're 5 weeks in, and made $5 off of AdSense as of yesterday. Well done. People say, $5 isn't that much, but when you're just getting started and you need proof of concept, $5 is awesome. You've all taught me on your channels. I'm slowly growing my site. You're all awesome. There are in this community some really cool people who are just sharing stuff for free, and I think it's great. Yes, I was shocked. It's hard to describe that feeling the first time you start making money. It's a great feeling. It's addictive. It's like super addictive. Jazzy says, how many articles do you have? And Wander says he's got 16 articles, 7 pages, another 29 awaiting editing. Lots of people are like, and I'm like, absolutely. That is really awesome. I do want to do a quick shout out, a reminder that I'm launching a new site again in July. And for anybody who wants to start and just sort of be with me, with us as we start basically over again, I will be tracking what I'm doing in the MIGA spreadsheet. And also, I'm going to set up a separate case study series. So I'm going to have two, I don't want to call them income report videos, but two update videos a month for case studies. So I'm not necessarily sure what's the best way to help people understand which is which. Maybe I will post one near the beginning of the month and then always one near the middle of the month. And so people know if the middle of the month one, they'll just know that has to do with site MIGA site number 2. I think I'm going to call it MIGA 1 and MIGA 2. And so they'll just know what's what. Sue says, has anyone heard of the hosting company InterServer? Been reading some great things about them, but have not heard them before any of you guys. I don't use InterServer. I will kick that to the chat. Has anybody used them or heard them? And if so, please pipe up and tell us what you think. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to go into the comments and let us know what you think. Adrian says to Wander, says, congrats. The first sales dollars are the best. Amazing feeling. And they responded and said, when I saw the first penny, I was overjoyed. Yeah, it's hard to even explain the feeling. I mean, it's amazing. Keith says, haven't heard of them. Yeah, I haven't heard of InterServer, but now I'm going to go over there and look because I'm curious. InterServer, affordable, unlimited web hosting. Well, they have a nice landing page, interserver.net. Let's see, $2.50 for 1 month of service. I don't know if that's always that way or if it's just for the first month, but could be worth trying out for somebody. I just have not tried them. Well, folks, I think that I have talked about most of the things I wanted to talk about. My plan for June is to get 50 posts for the MIGA site number 1. So it means that I'm going to have to really get to it. My goal, again, is 500 posts for the year for 2021. And I've had several people ask me about the second site. They're saying, oh, focus has always been your problem. Are you going to take your foot off the gas on your main site? Don't you think that will distract you from your main site? And I just keep going back to what my goal is. And my goal is to grow to sell. And the plan is to try and sell things either next year or the year after. And so I want to have things continually like in the pipeline. And so I just don't think that I can grow one thing and then sell it. And then it would be better to have something in the pipeline coming up. So I just have to figure out how to balance this and make sure that MIGA site number 1 continues on the roll that it's on and continues to grow while also juggling this other thing. And that is my challenge. And I may not succeed, right? 2 sites a year, and eventually in the future, sell 1 or 2 of those sites every year and make that a part of my regular income from the internet. So yeah, folks, I'm going to head out. I have enjoyed chatting with you all as always, and I look forward to seeing you, hearing from you, talking with you next week on Wednesday. I'm definitely going to be here next Wednesday, but then like Alex, I think I intend to take a week off from live streams because I'm going to maybe play. I don't want to call it a vacation, but just be off the computer right around the time that the kids get out of school. So there will be a stream I plan to miss. Income Grinders asks, why sell? My goal, my ultimate goal, and it just comes down to my ultimate financial goal is I want to be completely and totally 100% debt free. And I also have some college funds that I want to fund. And so I want to move some of my assets offline. It's some of that value into other things. And I just don't want them all online. So yeah, I just want to pay off all of my debt. And I don't want to wait 5 or 10 years to do it. I mean, I could grow the site big enough and then continue to like knock off the chunks, but it's important to me to get this done sooner than later. Paul says, Google just announced Broadcore update later today. Yeah, that came up, and all of us initially want to like drink alcohol because it's just more instability in an already unstable universe. So yeah, time to enjoy some summer. It is like summer just arrived like yesterday. It was 90 some degrees F Fahrenheit here in June, which is unseasonably warm. Like usually it's still raining right now. So everybody is like, air conditioning. Stig says, are you vacationing in or near Chicago? I have alcohol. No, friend, I usually reserve my vacationing for the woods and places where I can be outside because yeah. Let's see. All right. Friends, I'm going to go write some content. Hopefully you will too. And if you caught us on the replay, let us know that you were here so that I know we have woods. Oh. All right. See you next week. Take care, everybody.